This is Inside Badger Football with head coach Trey Shucker. Inside Badger Football is brought to you by Bell Wealth Services, Welch Funeral Home, Austin Wingfield State Farm, Southern Bank Corp, Southwest Sporting Goods, the accounting firm of Turner, Rogers, Manning, and Plyler, Taylor King Law, Price and Company, Doctors Rob and Gary Rucker, Eccles Thompson and Kneebone, Certified Public Accountants, South Central Connect, Java Primo, Southwest Auto, R&T Dixon Enterprises, Arkadelphia Tire and Outfitters, Patterson Federal Credit Union, Batson Signs, Print Mania, Agent Jake Knight at Pennington Insurance, Cry Like Pro Elite Realty, and Sheffield Music Company. The host of Inside Badger Football is Chase Hartzell.
Hello and welcome back to Inside Badger Football with Trey Shucker. I'm Chase Hartzell, and as always, we're joined by Coach Shucker. Coach Shucker, welcome to the show.
Hey, great to be here today.
Well, Coach, looking back on this last Friday, big road win in the second game in conference play against Mena.
It was. It felt really good to get back-to-back wins. You know, it took us a while this season to get to that first one, and so it felt really good to be able to build off of that, and I thought we played really well. You know, it wasn't a perfect game for us. There's a lot of things that we've still got to get better at and improve on, but, you know, a good overall win as a team. Very proud of our coaches, our players, just for continuing to get better, going out and executing the way we did, and a good Badger victory.
Now, the drive to Mena is about 2 hours, and this is really a portion of the conference schedule for Arkadelphia where you're going to have some longer drives.
Yeah.
How does the team stay locked in when you have those long trips like that?
The biggest thing that we talk about is to win a championship, you've got to win road games. You've got to be able to win big games on the road, whether it's a conference championship, whether it's a state championship, any kind of big game. We've got to be able to win big games on the road. We love to play in front of our home crowd. It's always an exciting time, but championship teams win on the road. And so that's one thing that we talk to them about and preach to them is, you know, to win a championship, you've got to be able to play well on the road, and I thought we did that Friday.
One thing that has been a key to success for this 2023 Bearcat squad has been their physicality and their tenacity. This is a team that played very well in non-conference play because of that. What did you see of that as the head coach of the Badgers, and how were you able to respond to it with your own team?
Yeah, that's one thing that we knew going into it. Anytime you play Mena or any kind of team that's, you know, not very comparable in speed or athleticism terms, you know, they're going to try to be more physical and play some smash mouth football at times. And we've got to be physical. We've got to match that physicality and exceed it. And so, you know, anytime we play a team like that, we know what we're going to get. We've got to be disciplined. We've got to be hard-nosed ourselves. And it just goes back to the way we practice and the way we try to get our kids prepared for the game Friday.
Well, it seems like the defense is playing exceptionally well at this point in the season. The offense coming into its own by scoring over 50 points for the first time this season, but especially on the defensive side of the ball, allowing 7 points or less in the first two contests in conference play. There's got to be a promising side on both sides.
No doubt, and our defense has been very consistent all year. I know even in the earlier games, our defense has played really well. You know, the earlier games, our offense just didn't really help them out. You know, we're starting to see our offense come around to starting to score a little bit more, be more consistent with our execution, and so you're able to see that accumulate in points. But our defense has been really consistent all year. It doesn't matter who we've played. We've been very proud of how they've played. Still got to get better. Still got to, you know, improve on, you know, getting aligned and trying to force some more turnovers and put us in some better situations. But overall, our defense is playing really, really well. We're doing a great job of tackling. And that's one thing that we take pride in from a defensive perspective is we feel like we are a physical tackling team. You know, Coach Kaiser does a great job at preaching that. You know, Coach Chandler, Coach Evans are really good on board with that and making sure that we're having great pursuit. And, you know, that's one thing that we've got to build on moving forward and continue to do in future weeks.
Well, there are a lot of great things to talk about from this game, and we're going to go ahead and get into the highlights. This was the game on the road last Friday against Mena. So one of the things you'll notice from the very beginning, we had a little bit of a different camera angle for this game because the stands at Mena are lower to the ground, so there will be some plays that are obstructed, but Coach, I'm sure you can give us some insight onto what was going on in the different plays.
Sure, you know, we didn't win the coin toss. They elected to receive, so we knew we had to do a really good job of our cover down. That's one thing that we like to take pride in is our cover down on our kickoff unit, and we did a really good job of pinning them inside the 20. And if we can do that, we feel like it gives our defense momentum to really have an opportunity to get the offense off the field. And you saw that to start the game. And one thing that we challenged our kids with was set the tone for the first 3 drives, and that didn't really matter who it was, whether it was offense, or defense, offense, defense. In this situation, it was defense, offense, defense. And we challenged our kids going into the game to set the tone for the first 3 drives. And, put them in a 4th down situation. They punted to us. And then Braden Wagner, as you saw, huge return, putting our offense in good field position. And, we challenged them to set the tone, and they did a really good job of meeting that expectation. Offense went out, and really we didn't start off with great execution. Had a couple just busted plays, really. This is one of them. And I think we just kind of got so excited to play and really go out and hopefully play well. I think we just kind of got outside of ourselves, and that's one thing to go into. It's a good game to learn from, that we've got to be able to play level-headed and be able to execute. So turned it over on downs. Defense went right back out, and with good field position, didn't really allow anything and got us the ball back really quick. They decided not to punt to us like they did the time before. And so offensively, we still got in decent field position, starting closer to midfield. I was very proud of our run game. I thought our offensive line did a really good job of creating rush lanes for our running backs and quarterback. And then I thought we were, decently efficient in the pass game as well. We weren't able to take as many shots. We threw underneath everything and tried to create plays with our legs, and I thought we did a decent job of that as well. But I was really proud of our offensive line for the night, being able to recognize what we were getting up front. Mena did a really good job of mixing some things up and not doing some things that they showed on film in earlier weeks. And so we prepared for some different looks than what we actually got during the game. So I thought our offensive line did a really good job of recognizing that, when we get to the sideline, understanding what we've got to do moving forward for the next drives and going out and applying it. And, that's something that we've got to improve on, in all aspects. But I thought we did a really good job overall on it. Again, defense did a really good job of getting them off the field. They didn't punt to us again. And then, McBride, I thought he did a really good job, running, using his legs to create plays, whether it was designed runs or him just tucking the ball and going in the pass game. It's one thing that I like seeing him be is more decisive, and that's something that we've worked on, from previous weeks, is when it's time to tuck and go, he's got to be decisive. He can't be in that in-between. That's one of the worst things that you can do as a quarterback is if it's a pass play and you start feeling things break down or your time's starting to run out, trying to get out and then still try to find somebody. If it's there, it's there. If it's not, tuck and go, as you see right here. When it's time to go, be decisive, especially if you're a good enough runner like Cade McBride is. Tuck and go and be decisive about it and go get yards.
Nice run there up the middle. And, Coach, that seems like it was a key to success in this one. You mentioned the offensive line, their excellent play, but it really seemed like the offensive spacing was a big key in this one, able to make some big plays, not only up the middle, but on both ends as well on the outside.
Yeah, and Mena did a really good job of trying to take away our run game, and we had to get into some different formations, different looks to create some space in the run game. And then, the normal looks that we were getting and prepared for, we were able to execute, getting the ball out in space, just like you're saying, space in the field. We want to make all defenses play, have to cover the entire field. We try to push teams vertical, we'll push them laterally. We'll try to create some run lanes and spread everybody out. We want to attack all the space on the field, especially when you've got players like that. Jay Purefoy, we were able to get him the ball out in space a couple times, and he was able to do something with his legs. And anytime that he's out there in space, he can make something happen. Kyle Reed, big run for him on the night. just a hard-nosed score. We talked about being physical and matching physicality. Thought we did that overall in the night, and really physical run by Kyle Reed right there. Again, as you see us, we're getting down. Really good job of getting to our top speed on our kickoff unit and getting down the field quickly, and then coming to balance and making controlled tackles, controlled but physical tackles.
And here you can see a bit of mixing it up there, going with the running back throwing the ball over there. But even though they ran that play, secondary was ready for a shot downfield.
They were. Our secondary has been playing really, really well. We've played with a mixture of guys in the secondary, but they've all been very consistent and been able to pattern match different concepts. One thing that we do have to improve on is our screen game. We've been hit with a couple screens the past couple weeks that have accounted for a lot of yards, and that's one thing that we've got to continue to improve on. But we're not giving up the deep ball, and so that's one thing that we want to eliminate the deep ball, and we want to make sure that we can control the run. And so I think we've done a good job of that the past 2 weeks, and still things that we got to improve on, but really done a really good job of it.
Speaking of playmakers in space, D'Angelo Buckley seems to be improving in that aspect as well, even on special teams.
He sure is. He being a senior, he's gotten a lot of really good quality reps. Just been a really good back for us this year. In his senior year, he knows that this is his time to make something happen. We've got him and Kyle Reed on a rotation at the running back spot, and they do a really good job of really pulling for each other and wanting each other to do well. But D'Angelo has been a really good senior leader for us. He's had a great offseason, great summer, and he's improving every week. Nice catch right here by Evan Bailey. Evan had one of his best nights. Was a really good go-to target for us, and we put him in some situations where we were asking him to step up and make plays throughout the night, and that was one right there. But throughout the night, I thought Evan Bailey really showed his maturity, his senior leadership on being able to be dependable. Thought he did a really good job of catching the ball with his routes, just understanding what we needed him to do, and very, very proud of how he played Friday. As you see, there's a lot of white jerseys getting to the ball, a lot of physicality. We want to be considered a physical tackling defense. We want to have great pursuit, and I thought we were doing a really good job of that Friday. You're seeing a lot of white jerseys getting to the ball. We're trying to be physical when we get there. We're wrapping up the ball carrier. We're not missing tackles. The first person there is doing a really good job of wrapping up, and then we've got everybody else coming to help. Again, Evan Bailey, another big situation right there, getting him the ball, makes a couple people miss, breaks a couple tackles. He's a big body. We use him at receiver spot. We also use him at the tight end spot as well. There it is again. We throw it short to him. We can put it down the field at him. He's also a really good goal line threat. He's 6'3", almost 200 pounds. And he's one of those guys that we've got to get him the ball and continue to get him the ball.
So following the field goal, it's now 30-7 defense stepping back out onto the field. And again, Coach, one of the things that really stands out from this game is that unlike the Nashville game, there weren't many takeaways, but it was just the defense standing strong and forcing those 3 and outs.
That's exactly right. Our defense is what we feel like is our strong suit. Especially right now, our defense has been the most consistent. Our defense is playing really well, and we've got to continue to do that. There's some small things that we've got to fix here and there, and things that we can improve on. But our defense, I believe, is the strength of our team right now.
But the offense coming into its own. We've mentioned all the different playmakers, and again, you see it on display in this drive, just being able to space the field, not only being able to attack up the middle where the defense was focused originally for the run, but also opening things up out in the flats.
Yes, and you see us starting to execute better. This is one thing that, ball security has been a point of emphasis, always is, but it's one thing that we've got to continue. But overall, you can start to see our offense starting to click, and really just comes down to confidence to me. When you're confident in what you do, you're going to be able to play faster, and you're not going to be as timid. And that's what we need. We just need the game reps. We need to keep improving and feeling the success that we're having and using that success to create confidence. And that's what it really comes down to. When you're successful at something, you're confident in it. And we've felt the success. We've been able to start scoring more consistently, moving the ball, putting good drives together. And that just creates the confidence that you need to continue to do that. And that's what, when in those big games and those big situations, that's where you have that confidence, and you can look back on, we've made the plays we need to make, and we can continue to do it. I thought Cade McBride, our quarterback, did a really good job of his decision-making over the course of the night. He's starting to be more confident, consistent, more decisive in his decision-making at the quarterback spot in the pass game and the run game. Just being able to operate our offense, and as every week goes by, he's done a really good job and continue to improve. I think our, Seth Molinari, our sophomore kicker, has done a really good job. He's one of those guys that, he's putting it at the 10-yard line now. At the beginning of the season, he wasn't. He stays after practice every day and kicks for at least 30 minutes. He'll stay out there an hour and a half if we let him, but he's kicking constantly, and he's improving his arm strength, his leg strength, and his kicking ability, and he's been a really, really good attribute for us this year.
Also in this game, getting a chance to kick one out there for 3. Usually the offense capping off those drives. There was one strong defensive stand earlier in the contest, though, where he went out there, and it was a good-looking kick. Looked like it had a few extra yards on it, too.
Yes, it sure did. And, it's so exciting for him to be able to be in that position and be able to execute and get a field goal and put points on the board. But also, again, we talk about confidence. That's confidence for him moving forward. And in tough situations and tough games, we're going to need him in those times. So, again, just building that confidence for him to be able to handle it.
Another instance there of Evan Bailey being able to put his feet in a good spot. He did a great job of maintaining his balance and finding a way to stay in bounds to make those big time catches.
Yeah, and I believe that was on a 4th down. And, like I said earlier, we put Evan in some spots. We needed him to step up to convert 3rd and 4th downs, and he did that for us Friday.
And cap off the drive with a nice quarterback sneak there, offensive line giving plenty of support to Cade McBride.
Mm-hmm, for sure. I thought our offensive line's improving. They're still young. They're getting older every week. And, again, gaining the confidence they need. Just starting to play at a high level. Mena's got a sophomore quarterback. I think he's got a really good arm, talented player, and he's going to continue to get better every week too. We need to see teams that have good quarterbacks and quarterbacks that have good arms and test our defense. And I thought we've been able to see some good arms this season, and so I think our secondary is as tested as we've ever been at this point of the season, and we hope that prepares us for future teams, and we know what we're going to get moving forward. Mena did a really good job of, as the game went on, they started getting into some different formations and trying to out-leverage us at times. And we've got to do a better job defensively of recognizing formation and understanding how to get lined up to them. But defensively, we played a really, really good night. And then we were able to get the next guys in towards the end of the game. Very happy to get the backups in and get them quality reps as well, get them Friday night reps. They've played 3 JV games this year up to this point, and they've done really well. They're 3-0 in JV. But anytime we can get them in a high school game on Friday, we feel like that's quality reps as well, and that improves confidence. That was a big run right there by running back Blake Moody, sophomore for us. He's played really, really well in JV, and he's taken huge strides over the course of this season. We're halfway through the season, and he's a far ahead from where he was at the beginning of the season. You know, just the reps that he's gotten, he's done a really good job coming to work every day and getting better.
And we saw in one of the plays earlier in that drive too, Moody is one of those players that, like a lot of the backups and Badgers in general, he's going to give it his all every single play that he's out there. He's going to fight for every yard that he gets. And for the backups, we're starting to see that pay off as well, especially with that touchdown that served as the exclamation point on an impressive victory.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, he's a tough runner. Blake's a tough runner, and you know, he was able to show some speed. He's pretty quick too. He's a track runner, and you know, up front also we were able to get some guys in, some younger guys in up front, and so to get those guys in and to start getting those reps in on a Friday night is huge as well. And they were able to go execute and help Blake out in the run game for that play as well. So just an all-around good victory for the Badgers. A lot of good things that take away from it, a lot of things that we can improve on. You know, we're just happy to be 2-0 in conference and just hopefully keep it going.
All right, again, your final score in that one, Arkadelphia 51, Mena 7. And we're going to take a look at some of the stats from this matchup because there were a lot of players that stood out in this one. Coach, you mentioned Cade McBride putting on one of his best performances of the year thus far, along with Evan Bailey. Yeah,
you know, McBride, he's starting to be more confident, you know, trying to get him transition through the games from linebacker like he played last year into that quarterback role. But he's getting better at it every week and being more consistent. You know, he accounted for 5 touchdowns, you know, 3 rushing and threw for 2. You know, we continue that, we're going to be all right. And then Evan Bailey had a huge game, was very reliable at the wide receiver position. Again, a lot of those receptions were 3rd or 4th down receptions. We're asking him to make a play and do something. And, you know, 8 receptions, 78 yards and a touchdown. That's a pretty good night at the office. And then the rest of them, you know, Jay Purefoy is another guy that we've got to continue to find ways to get the ball. 7 receptions for 62 yards and had a big night as well. And then Kyle Reed had a rushing touchdown as well as Blake Moody. But, you know, Kyle Reed's in the rotation with D'Angelo Buckley. They do a really good job supporting each other and really complement each other in the run game. And then defensively, you know, there's tons of stats defensively. Our defense is playing very, very well. We're a tough defense. It's tough for us to – that's one thing that, you know, you can take away from our offensive improvement is we're going up against a really, really good defense every day in practice, and they're helping us get better. And, you know, it starts right there with Nick Williams, you know, 12 tackles, tackle for a loss. We use him on offense as well. And then, you know, sophomore linebacker Malachi Hamilton had a really big game. Chase Vandenborg, senior linebacker. You know, KD Young, 6 tackles, tackle for a loss, 1 PBU. Very nice to have KD Young back. He's, you know, huge for our defense. We're able to put him in different spots and make plays. Lamont Jones, senior safety for us. He's very sure tackler. That's one thing that we like in him is how well he can tackle and his speed to get there. And then Skylar McClure, sophomore defensive end, continues to get better every week. Very, very reliable at that spot and just trusts his coaching. And, you know, he's very consistent. And then Keeson Wimberly, again, just a big body down low at the defensive tackle position. Very physical. We talk about matching physicality, and Keeson does a really good job of doing that. Anytime that we're going up against physical teams, we can rely on Keeson to come in and be physical and what we need at that defensive tackle position.
When you've got that kind of talent top to bottom contributing the way that this defense and this offense has, again, Coach, you got a tough task picking some Badgers of the week, but that was the task you had this week, and now we're going to take a look at some of the winners.
Yeah, you know, we like it being a tough task, and that means that we've got a lot of people making plays. But offensively, Evan Bailey was our offensive player of the week. You know, really stood up to the different situations that we asked him to step up in. Senior leader for us, was huge in a lot of the conversions on 3rd down and a couple on 4th, and also had a touchdown. So very reliable, his best night that I believe of the season for him. Defense, Skylar McClure, defensive end. You know, Skylar's one of those guys that he's getting better every week. And then, you know, he had his best, in my opinion. Defensively, he had his best game this past Friday. Just very reliable in his reads. He's doing the right thing on every play. He's either making the play or he's allowing somebody else to make the play. And a lot of, you know, that's part of playing the defensive role, especially on the D-line position, is, you know, playing with technique and fundamentals to where you're either making the play or you're allowing somebody else to make a play, and he's doing his job. Special teams player of the week, junior Braden Wagner, had that huge return, punt return, almost took it to the house, and really started the game off. We challenged our guys to start the game off really fast and set the tone, and he helped us do that in the special teams. Then our Badger Spirit Award, Chris Babb. Chris, a longtime Badger supporter, former Badger, and he used to be in the athletic director role, and now he's works for Washita Baptist. He's huge with our production on different things, with our live stream, the coaches show, just a huge supporter of us all, and just very, very happy to have him with us, and all the things that he does for us. You can't say enough about him.
Absolutely. Babb is one that was formerly an athletic director for Arkadelphia and has had ties there, has family that has attended there, and now attending Washita as well. Still some Badgers there at the school as well, but he's been a big part of the Washita and the Arkadelphia communities. He's a big part not only of the Friday night broadcast, but he's a big part of bringing this show to you week in and week out. So congratulations to Chris and to all of our Badger of the Week award winners. Now we're going to take a look at some of the results from around the conference. Taking a look, it was a big win for Malvern, the conference opener for the Leopards, winning 48-0 over Waldron. And then the only other game last week, Arkadelphia and Mena, with Ashdown and Nashville both having open weeks.
Yeah, the conference is a tough conference. As we keep going, we're only 2 weeks into the conference. But as we keep going, I think it's going to really come down to who's healthiest at the end. And, it's really how it has been historically in our conference. Mena's a good team. They're going to continue to improve. Nashville is a good team. They're going to continue to improve. Nashville started off very similar last year, and then, really peaked in the playoffs and made it put together a really good semifinal run. And so, just because you look up there and you might see a 0 in that first column in the conference play, don't be surprised at, how some of these teams end up. Malvern, very, very good team, returning everybody from last year. Ashdown's always a talented team, and, you've got to really come to play against them as well. So, we've got to continue to get better. We know what we've got to do, and we've got to be ready to play every Friday night.
Well, right now there's only one 2-0 team in the 4A7. That's Arkadelphia after some hard-fought wins, both at home, on the road. You get a look at the Week 6 schedule. Malvern is at Ashdown. Nashville will be at Mena. Non-conference game between Little Rock Hall as they travel to Waldron, and Arkadelphia will be the lone team off this week. Again, it's been unusual as there are only 6 teams in the conference, so you have that extra bye week built in. But, Coach, the last time we were talking about a bye week, it was a little bit of a different situation because the team was coming off of some tough battles against 5A South opponents, still looking for that first win of the year, but able to come out of the gate firing on all cylinders against Nashville a week ago, or a couple weeks ago, I should say now, then turn around another big win on the road at Mena. What do you hope that the team takes away from this bye week now at this point in the conference schedule?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Last bye week, we're trying to focus on ourselves, trying to get better and improve our own position, each individual enough to where we're a better team in the end. And, that's the same thing this week. We're not very banged up. We've got bumps and bruises, just stuff over the course of the season. But, we don't have a lot of people down. If we had to practice today, we would be able to do that. So it's really just about us. It comes back to just trying to get better at each position and then put it together as a unit, and then the units put it together and translate it to the field. And, it comes back to being able to, defense helps the offense is able to put up the points, turn around, the special team is able to turn it back around and create some field position. And so it all just goes full circle. But if we can continue to get better every single day, we like where we can be at the end of it on a Friday night.
And just a quick reminder, there will be no Inside Badger football next week because it is a bye week. But we'll be back to break down the next game against Waldron in a couple weeks. Coach, the Bulldogs, it's going to be one of the longest trips that Arkadelphia has this season.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have some playoff matchups as well. We'll have to see how that shakes up in the postseason. But when it comes to the conference schedule, Waldron up there for the longest trip that the Badgers will take this year. What can we expect from this matchup against the Bulldogs?
Yeah, you know, we're going to play a team that might not be as athletic as us, as fast as us. So anytime you, just like we talked about earlier, anytime you play a team like that, you know, their whole MO is going to be, we got to be more physical than the other team. And so we know that. We take pride in being a physical team, and so we've got to match and exceed that. And then we're also going to challenge our kids to be able to play well on the road, go on into an environment that is far away from home, and be able to execute and be disciplined and do things right and play good Badger football. And so that's the thing going into it, is we've got to play Badger football. And if we can do that, we feel good about what we can do.
Absolutely. Again, game coming up in a couple weeks at Waldron. You can catch that game on Arkadelphia Badger TV. We will not have an episode next week due to the bye week, but we will be back to break down that matchup against the Bulldogs. Well, Coach, that's going to do it for this week's edition, and we'll see you in a couple weeks, hopefully to talk about another Badger win.
See you in a couple weeks. Go Badgers.
Go Badgers.
Inside Badger Football is brought to you by Bell Wealth Services, Welch Funeral Home, Austin Wingfield State Farm, Southern Bank Corp, Southwest Sporting Goods, the accounting firm of Turner, Rogers, Manning, and Plyler, Taylor King Law, Price and Company, Doctors Rob and Gary Rucker, Eccles Thompson and Kneebone, Certified Public Accountants, South Central Connect, Java Primo, Southwest Auto, R&T Dixon Enterprises, Arkadelphia Tire and Outfitters, Patterson Federal Credit Union, Batson Signs, Print Mania, Agent Jake Knight at Pennington Insurance, Cry Like Pro Elite Realty, and Sheffield Music Company. Inside Badger Football is produced weekly by the Ouachita Baptist University Rogers Department of Communications and the Ouachita Sports Digital Network.